Back again. Ozonics Killerwinds podcast. I'm Cole Tanner.
I'm Nick Simon.
Today we've got a pretty exciting discussion. This is what we would be considering a gear review.
Yeah.
So we are talking everything, top to bottom, start to finish, backwards and forwards, about Leathermans.
Leathermans.
Or as Jet would call it, the leather tool.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about Leathermans in general, just kind of use case.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about the breakdown of our Leathermans, kind of what's in there, what's feel useful about it. We're going to be talking about, actually kind of a fun thing that we did is, just for giggles, we kept track of how many times we used our Leatherman for 7 days.
Yeah.
From Friday at noon to Friday at noon, which I'm Mr. Detail, so that was perfect for me. We just created a note on our iPhones, and we just, every time you used it, you wrote the date, the time, and what you did.
Yep.
And of course, after it got done on Friday, I feel like I used it 100 times after that over the weekend, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that, and just to really kind of break down, because I think I've gotten that question, like, well, do you actually use it? It's like, yeah, man, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
So we kept track.
Yeah.
Then we're also going to talk about crazy uses, where it's come in handy in certain situations.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to talk a little bit about their warranty.
Yep.
Because I've had great luck with it in that regard as well. So before we start, if you hear a lot of tap dancing, that's us playing with the Leathermans and sitting them on the counter. So if you're listening on the...
Don't be alarmed.
Yep. I'm sorry if that gets annoying.
Yep.
Okay. So I have been using a Leatherman now for, I'd have to look back, but it's probably been at least, it's 2023. I bet I've been using a Leatherman since 2011, 2010. I'm using it for a long time.
Yeah.
And man, they come in handy.
Yeah.
When I initially bought the Leatherman, I've had this same style Leatherman the entire time. I've had the Leatherman Charge.
Yeah.
And man, it's worked great for me.
Yeah.
When I first bought it, it was, it's like, it's not like they're $1,000.
Yeah.
But they're more than $50.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive.
Yeah. And so it's like, it kind of felt like an investment. I was like, man, I don't know, but I feel like the same thing that happens for everybody is there was somebody there that kind of knew it and had one. I'm like, man, dude, I'm telling you, they're handy. And that kind of sold me on it. And I got one. And shortly after, one of the best things I use, this thing goes everywhere with me. It doesn't matter if it's at work, if it's at home, if it's Christmas morning,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like if it's Alaska, if it's Colorado, if it's Idaho, if it's Iowa, if I'm hunting, I have my Leatherman.
Not even hunting.
Yes.
Just going somewhere.
Yeah. Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Hey,
Exactly.
the kids have got toys and they're in clamshell packaging.
Yeah.
Dad, hand me your leather tool.
Yeah.
So it's, Leatherman they have come in handy for me a ton.
Yeah.
And full disclosure here, we have no connection with Leatherman.
No.
Like we're just talking about this because it really works.
Yeah.
We joked about this, like, we don't work for Leatherman, but they work for us.
Yes.
The Leathermans themselves.
Yeah. Not like the company or anything. The tool.
The tool
really
works for us. Yeah. We don't work. They don't work. We have no affiliation, but we're talking about them because they're awesome.
Yeah. They're really cool.
Yeah.
I have had this one for probably 2 months?
Yeah. A couple months. It seemed like you got it before turkey season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
right before turkey season.
Yeah. So like probably in early April.
Yeah.
Months.
But I grew up on a farm and stuff. And so I always had a little pocket knife with me, cutting twine string and stuff, just random stuff. But it was just obviously just a knife.
Yeah.
And I had always kind of wanted a Leatherman, but when you're just a kid, you can't really justify it. But I've always wanted one. And then when I started working with Cole, he always had it. And I always found myself asking him for his.
Yeah.
So then one day we were at Shields and pulled the trigger. And it's been pretty awesome. I use it a ton.
Yeah.
Not as much as Cole probably, but it gets its use.
I'll tell you what, one of the things that I always tell people when they're looking at buying a Leatherman, because I, just like you're like, hey man, tell me about that thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like about the Leatherman Charge specifically, and it can vary between the varieties that they have, of the offerings that they have. The one thing that I really like about this one especially is that, my hands aren't like all calloused up, but they're not super soft either, right? But one thing that I like is that when you grip this thing, it's pretty nice to grip onto.
Yeah.
It's got nice edges, kind of soft edges. So some of the other Leathermans that are just real basic, the width right here gets kind of thin.
Yeah.
And if you really try to wrench on it,
Yeah.
it can hurt your hands.
Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah, I've used other people's that have them and they use it for just grabbing them. And if you really wrench on it, it can kind of hurt your hands.
Yeah.
I like that this has got a little bit of beef. And it doesn't, if you really are trying to grip onto something,
Yeah.
it's not like it's hurting your palms or
exactly.
your fingers. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
That's one thing I talked to you about right away.
Yeah.
It's just, I like the fact that this section here where you're actually grabbing it, it's nice. It's got a little bit of beef to it. It's easy to hold on to.
Yeah, and I got the same one as Cole, except mine is titanium.
Yep.
Pretty much the exact same thing, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't know from a titanium perspective. I think what they're talking about is this piece right here, like the actual,
the
like
whole
the
thing.
framework of it.
Yeah.
Mine is more of like a, I don't know if it's like a composite or if it's plastic or what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
But yours is titanium, and
Yeah.
I don't know from a weight perspective. Does it make it any lighter?
Gosh, I don't know. I can't tell.
We'd have to put it on a scale.
Yeah,
Feels very similar.
it does.
I would definitely say the one thing that's different about yours is from a texture perspective, which honestly kind of comes in handy sometimes when it's wet. Yours has got a little bit more grip to it,
Yeah.
to hold on to.
And I mean, another thing too is though, I mean, you've had yours for so long.
Yep.
That could be kind of why it feels like that, but
It's getting pretty shined up.
yeah, exactly.
Yep. But yeah, like you said, it was funny when after I got it, I had it for probably a year before I started working out in Colorado as a hunting guide. And all the guys that I worked out there, they all really razzed me about this at first.
Yeah.
Like they were just always like, "Oh, cool, Leatherman, huh?" I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know, it works for me. Like
Yeah.
I've had pretty good luck with it. And within a couple weeks of being around them, it was like, "Hey, man, you got those pliers?" That's what they called them. Hey, throw me those pliers.
Yeah.
And we had a big R in the town that we worked by, and sure enough, within a couple months, everybody's carrying around Leathermans. Yeah. So they're pretty handy. And it's kind of a thing that kind of feels contagious once you're around somebody that has one.
Yeah.
I was around Susie's son last summer for a while, just like on the weekends and hanging out and stuff. And he saw my Leatherman, and then he asked Susie for a Leatherman for Christmas or for his birthday or something.
Yeah.
And so worked pretty dang good in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like we said too, like just everyday things. Like I find myself using it at times when I'm like, man, it's nice to have this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of times where like you would like be scrambling to find something, but it's just nice to just have this on you at all times. And
Yep. So one of the other kind of random things that like when you're looking at them, you never really think of, and I think yours does the same thing. So you see how mine has got, it says like Leatherman shiny right here in this like more of this, I don't know what it's like, a little piece of metal.
Yeah.
It has it right there as well. That's where the knives are.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're like flipping your Leatherman, you're trying to figure out which side's the knife, because sometimes you're like, and obviously you put it in your hand, it's always going to be right there for a right-handed person. But if you're just picking it up and looking at it, where that shiny is where the actual knives are.
Mm-hmm.
The other side is the file and is the little saw.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I like about this Leatherman Charge as well, comparatively to some of their base models. These knives have got a little bit nicer steel. Mine is really dirty, so I'm kind of a little bit embarrassed by that. It's pretty nasty from boxes and at work and everything else, but it's got like all the residue from the sticker or from stickers and from tape and stuff. But some of the more pricier Leathermans have got a lot better steel.
Yeah.
This is on my Charge, it's 154 cm steel, and yours is an S30V steel.
Yep.
So both a little bit harder steels.
Yeah.
Meaning they don't dull up as fast.
Yeah.
But they can be a little bit harder to sharpen. I've actually sharpened this one all the time I've had it with a ceramic.
Okay.
I'm not a real great guy of like putting an edge on a knife.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I just never was taught.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like whenever I do that, I just ruin it.
Yeah.
So I end up using a ceramic, which basically is just kind of taking the burr that's created when your knife dulls up.
Yeah.
It just kind of takes that burr off and it sharpens it back up.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing that's a big difference between yours and mine too is yours is like we've talked about is a ton newer.
Yeah.
Mine's, I couldn't even tell you how long I've had, like I said, I've had to warranty them over the years.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I warranted this one, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
So this one's definitely worn in. I mean, just even like how they change the way that you have like these little nuts and bolts here where it all hinges. Mine aren't even nuts and bolts. It's like these, I don't even know what you want to call them. Yeah. You can even see those are like worn down.
Yeah.
The edges are all softened and stuff. But, we were joking about how that S30V steel, it is sharp.
Yeah.
That thing is sharp.
Yeah.
Right now sharp.
Yeah.
Like cut your finger.
Yeah.
I inherently keep mine a little duller with 5 kids. Yeah. And especially just Jet Kodiak. He's Mr. Play with my Leatherman all the time.
Yeah.
So I keep this a little bit duller.
Yeah.
The only things that I really allow him to play with, or I tell him to play with when I'm watching him, is the file, the saw, and the pliers.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I learned the hard way on that deal too. I let him play with a little saw, and we have butcher board a lot, very much like this table we have here. Well, of course, Jet started sawing little notches in our countertop, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And then he just kept making it bigger and bigger until I figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
so now he's allowed to play with the Leatherman outside.
Yep.
But even that, during the 7 days that we kept track, he was playing with it, and he was trying to saw a stick. He laid the stick flat on the cement and then was taking the saw and was like cutting the cement while he was cutting the stick. So
really good for it.
Yeah, my saw is super dull. Like you can like rub your finger on it. You can't do that on yours.
No, mine's
yours like sticks.
Super sharp.
Yeah, you could see mine. I mean, that is just duller than dull.
Yeah.
Look at that, dude. It's just like, but yours is, yeah, you can't move your finger at all. Yeah. Mine, you can just go up and down. It's not that big of a deal. So it's definitely dulled up over the years. That's partly a little bit of jetty, but
yeah. Well, this saw is so handy, especially for hunting. Cutting little sticks that are in the way or limbs or whatever.
Oh man.
And it just like right now, this just goes right through it.
Oh yeah, no, and it is. It's even with mine all dulled up, it works just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I got to put a little bit more muscle into it.
Yeah.
But what I feel like inherently happens is what I notice I end up doing a lot is, especially during like spring turkey hunting, setting ground blind out, and you've just got little saplings or little things that are in there. Well, it's nice to be able to just take that saw and you're kind of ripping it into the dirt. Yeah. You're trying to get it as low as you can, and you just knock the dirt off and you're good to go again. I mean, it's really, really handy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to the actual tool itself and the differences, yours and mine is very similar.
Very similar.
Again, mine's more of an older model and it's not the titanium version, but the big difference is that I have on both sides, which you have it too, but it's a little different. I've got a straight and a Phillips, and I've got 2 sizes of each of those. So I've got a bigger and a smaller of a straight and a Phillips.
Yeah.
What you have is you only have one side that's got this adjustment.
Yeah.
Yours has a straight and a Phillips on one.
Yep.
The Leatherman comes with a little tool set where you can put in whatever
size you want.
Yeah, whatever size you want, depending. But what you have that I don't have is you have a scissors.
Yes.
Because you have a straight head as well. It's just a bigger straight head. But you have a scissors, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I think everybody feels a little differently about the scissors.
Yeah, that was like when we were looking at them, I didn't really want one with the scissors.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I'd ever use that. And I feel like it's just kind of flimsy and gets in the way a little bit. But I actually use it a decent bit.
And it's actually really sharp.
It's super sharp.
Yeah.
Really sharp.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a good trade-off.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yep. Then, of course, the thing I feel like I use a lot when I'm out hunting and that honestly keeps my wife from getting mad at me a ton, can opener.
Yep.
Can opener doubles as a muddy boot cleaner.
Yep, it does a good job too.
Yep. Set your foot on your tailgate and just rip all the mud off your boot.
Yeah.
That works perfect for that.
Yep.
I honestly can't tell you if I've ever actually used it for a can opener.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, maybe
I haven't yet.
I think I've used it a couple times where I've like tried to open, maybe like pork and beans didn't open right, or like a can, like rip the tab off, and I've used it to like pry something open that way. But this honestly for me probably just becomes mostly a muddy boot cleaner.
Yeah.
So the other thing I really like is, seems kind of random that it wouldn't work that good, but this itty bitty screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know that if you can zoom up on it to see if I hold it near my face, then you're just going to see my beard, which gets weird. But it's got a Phillips on one side and it's got a straight on the other.
Yeah.
And you know me, I wear Costa sunglasses constantly.
Yeah.
Those are getting a little old. The little screw in there starts to loosen up. That actually comes in handy. You'd be surprised. And I'm surprised that you haven't used that more with using camera gear. How many little screws are on all the camera stuff?
Yeah.
Actually comes in handy for that.
Yeah, and it's funny too because that's what I use it the most for is camera gear.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't had to use that small one yet.
Yep.
I'm just always using the Phillips and the flathead.
Yep.
Like that's for sure what I use it the most for.
I'll tell you what, where this also comes in handy, and I know this isn't probably a good idea, but if you ever get a little lint down inside your cell phone charger,
Yeah.
dig it out. The one thing I learned the hard way on that though is this is not meant to be used for prying. you can
I wonder why.
Yeah, you can break this thing and it'll break like right at the bottom where then you have to try to figure out a way to kind of shimmy it down here to get it out.
Yeah.
But I've broken a couple of those,
Yeah.
so that kind of sucks.
Right.
Then when it's broken, then you definitely realize how much you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I really I enjoy my Leatherman, and I'm gonna tell you what, the other thing that I surprisingly use a lot, which comes in handy, you've got a little ruler here. So like you said, you can get, what is it? I think it's 7 inches.
I thought it was 8.
Yeah, you're right, 8. So from one end to the other is 8 inches. So that's pretty handy.
Yep.
Centimeters on the other side. We're in America.
Yeah.
We don't do that stuff.
No centimeters.
Yeah, we don't do the metric system.
Yeah.
I don't know metric. I'll tell you what. So that's pretty handy as well.
Measuring spurs.
Measuring spurs. I tell you what, dude.
Brow tines.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, it actually really comes in handy.
Yeah.
You even use it here at the office. You're just trying to measure something up quick or whatever, and it's nice to be able to just have that kind of at your disposal.
Yep.
One of the differences between yours and mine as well is obviously on every Leatherman is a needle nose pliers.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is the difference is I've got a wire cutter here in the middle, but you have, I think it would be considered like an adjustable or replaceable wire cutter.
Yeah, it is.
So you've got little screws in there so you can take yours out and
replace them.
Put sharpened ones in. Cause I will say mine is definitely not,
seen better days.
Yeah, it's definitely not sharp at all. I've definitely worn that down. But yeah, man, I'm telling you what, work pretty dang good.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it so far.
Yeah, like you said, I think the 3 things from my use cases that end up, well, 3 or 4 things that end up wearing down is, like I said, I end up wearing down the saw. Mm-hmm. This ends up starting to get pretty dull. Obviously the knife starts to dull, but I can sharpen that back up, no problem. Right. Like I said, I have to be, just because I'm rough with stuff, I have to be careful with that little itty bitty screwdriver that I'm not using that to pry something. Yeah. Once I learned that lesson, I've never broken one since. And every once in a while, over the years, I've gotten a little frisky on the pliers where I've really got on something and wrenched it. Yeah. And I have broken the tips of the pliers before. Yeah. And that's one thing, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but that's one thing I will say about these Leathermans. And this wasn't really a selling point for me when I bought it. Yeah. But once I had to take advantage of it, man, they have a great warranty. Like you said, I bought this one time and I think I've replaced it over the last 10, 12 years, probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 times at least, and this is generally where it is. I've broken, and I think that is what it is. I've broken the pliers. Yeah. I've just broken one off and then you've got one and it's just, you can still carry it. It's just not quite as handy. And then I would say the other thing that I broke that I don't think they warranty, you just buy a new one, is these little clips. Yeah. Eventually this will start to wear down. Yep. I've broken it right at the top of it. That's generally where it breaks. It's just that little bit of a hinge point. Yeah. It's just, this is constantly moving and it just ends up moving right on that edge. Yeah. And eventually it just goes bing, yeah, exactly. Flies off. Yeah. But it comes with a belt clip or it comes with a little circle loop. Yeah. So you could put like a piece of paracord in it or something if you don't use that belt clip. Yeah. But I really like the belt clip.
How does that warranty process work? Do you just send it back to them and then they do what they need to do, then send it right back? Or
yeah, so that's a great question. Interestingly, I don't remember every little specific, but I do remember is when you go on their website, fill it out, they ask you, does it have sentimental value?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if you're like, yes, this has sentimental value, I want my Leatherman back.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll make sure to give you yours back. Yeah. But if you're like, no, it doesn't have sentimental value, just warranty it. Yeah. Then they'll warranty it. Yeah. I think I had to pay for like shipping or something like that, which again, from my perspective, I'm like, hey, dude, if I don't have to buy a new Leatherman,
exactly.
I don't have to spend a couple $100. I just send it in and it takes a little bit. Yeah. that works out great for me.
Yeah, without doubt.
So, yeah, I have really had great luck with that warranty.
Yeah.
And again, it seems like the pliers, if you really, really get it rough on them, you can break it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like with anything, right?
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
use it outside of its the
Right.
parameters
Yeah.
of what it's supposed to do, you're like, oh, let me see if I can do this. Crack, break, bam.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so like I said, I think they've been pretty awesome. Been a huge thing for me. Like I said, I've just had great luck with them.
Yeah,
I know I'm really gushing about them, but I mean, dude, you've seen.
Yeah.
I just use mine constantly. It's always in my pocket.
Well, it's like one of the few things that is truly an everyday tool.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
At least that I own. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Okay, so I think we talked about all the differences.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said,
Yeah, they're very similar.
very similar.
Might have been a little bit better if we had different ones, but
Yes.
I mean, it's just when you're buying it, it's like you might as well just get the best one and like.
Well, and I think, but the thing I would add on to that is I would say get the best one for your use case.
Yeah, exactly.
We could put a link or put a picture of just their website right here in front of us, so you can probably see right now. Bing,
Bing.
But if you go on their website's pretty awesome. Or if you go into any of your local retailers, there's a lot of different places, Shields, Fleet Farm, wherever it might be that has Leathermans.
Yeah.
And they've got a bunch. Like if you want, they have more tactical versions of Leathermans. They've got Leatherman they have Leathermans that have built-in carabiners.
Yeah.
Technically, I think the Leatherman that we have, this charge is more built for, I think, more like an electrician.
Yeah, and I was actually going to say that like they make them some that are, I think, even more specific to electricians.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
like even ours, like so we've got like, the one thing we didn't mention is we've got a normal knife, but on the other side, we've got this serrated,
yeah.
and it's got this little hook, right? Could you use that as a gut hook? When you're a redneck like us, you're like, hey, I probably use that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's exactly what it's intended for, but there are a lot of different varieties of Leathermans that can fit your use.
Yeah.
And so I would think that's what I would recommend is go in there and look at it, what do I need it for? And then how much do I want to spend?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like I said, your Leatherman, I think that was $200.
Yeah, it was 200.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, like you said, I feel like it's worth it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's probably already paid itself off for me.
Yeah.
For how much I've used it.
Right. So let's get into that. So we kept track of 7 days worth of use.
Yep.
Which I thought was really, really interesting. I actually surprisingly didn't use it as much as I thought I would.
No, I had kind of a down week too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
if we would have done this in the fall or something.
Well, and I think if we would do it again, I think we would have done it more for a longer period.
Yeah.
Because we did it from Friday to Friday, noon to noon.
Yeah.
And of course, and this was, a longer weekend. So then I felt like Friday, like night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
Even this morning, I used it.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh darn it, I've used it way more than I did the week before.
And just so people know, the weekend where he used it a lot was after the competition.
Yes. Yes. So we might discuss some of that.
Yeah.
But so in 7 days, how many times do you use it?
8 times.
8 times in 7 days. I used mine 11 times in 7 days.
Yep. What
was the majority of your use?
Definitely taking base plates on and off.
Okay.
With the flathead.
Okay.
Just on the for camera gear and then your spotting scope too.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it always is with me.
Yeah.
That's what I use it for all the time, is just tinkering with camera gear.
Right. The thing that I use the most, I mean, when I just look through it, not even saying specifically going into detail, cut.
Yeah.
So 6 out of 11 mine were using it to cut.
Yeah.
Cutting paracord, cutting boxes open. What else do I have here? Cut plastic.
Yeah.
Off Jet's pajamas. He had a tag, right? And he was messing with it. He had stuff all over his hands. It was slippery.
Yeah.
I just held it and I cut it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is itching my back or something, so a lot of cutting.
Yeah.
That was my thing. I use it a lot to cut stuff.
And then I maybe could have said that I use it 11 times, but I just put ×3. I was putting Luminox on my arrows.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if my fingers are greasy or something, but I couldn't get the regular knocks off, so I didn't go too tight because I didn't want to wreck the knock on there, but I just popped it off with the pliers.
There you go. Yeah. I think my most obscure use, was, and I know this is too much information, but I used the tip of the knife to clean the fungus or the whatever you call that stuff on the inside of my big toe. You know, like when you get that little black stuff from your sock and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, I did it. I said clean big toe fungus with knife point.
You don't got to prove nothing. I walked into your office when it was happening.
Yes, you did. You looked at me and I'm like holding my Leatherman, like I'm sitting here and I'm like got my toe up and I'm looking. I was like, hey, and I was like, this counts, just so you know.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, I too used a flat screwdriver to loosen a bolt on the base plate of a tripod. I used the pliers at my house to try to pull out a nail.
Yeah.
Unsuccessfully, I ended up having to go get a hammer.
Yeah.
Again, that was one of those times where I was like, okay. And I was like, man, I don't want to break this during the week we're using it.
Yeah.
So I just went and grabbed a hammer.
Yeah. I played with it.
Yeah. He counted playing with it. If I would have kept track of how many times Jet grabs it from me, he grabs it. He's getting pretty sneaky too.
Yeah, but that's him using it, not you.
I know. That's why I didn't count it. But he grabs it all the time.
Yeah.
And he'll grab it for the saw. He wants to cut something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one had a little discrepancy to it.
Okay.
But I put it down. I cut a Twizzlers bag open. And
see, I felt like you did that using your Leatherman on purpose.
No.
You could have just grabbed it and ripped it normally.
No, I couldn't. That was fresh after a Casey Zaw.
Oh, come on.
You know them things got a little grease to them.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I actually have it on here that I had to use the Leatherman to open a popsicle for Finn.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing.
Because Finn, you know, they're just little kids are running around at summertime and she's kind of like, you know, she's trying to open it and then her hands are greasy and then they're wet. And then she handed it to me and you think you could just like grip it. And I couldn't get my fingers to grip on it. I'm like, am I seriously going to have to use my Leatherman to open an icicle or popsicle? And I did. So there it was. So it made the list.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. I kept track of the times, which there was no rhyme or reason to any of that.
Yep, I did too.
That was really useless.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was like,
know why we did
after that, I was like, ooh, 10:05 a.m.
We were really trying to get into the data.
Yeah, we were really trying to dig deep.
We use it more in the morning.
Yeah. It didn't really make any sense in that regard.
Yeah.
Oh, what else did I do? That's the thing, you know, a lot of cutting plastic.
Yeah.
You know, cutting a lot of boxes. I did use the pliers on your crispy boots.
I did too.
Yep. You've got this little metal piece on the end of it that's supposed to be like a kind of like a lace protector for rocks and stuff. If you're in situations where, because I've done that on my boots where the end of the laces right at the very tip where it comes around will break.
Yeah.
But crispy boots have this little piece of aluminum or metal and it kept flipping over.
Yeah.
So we were trying to figure it out and I finally just give it here. And I flipped it with my Leatherman.
Yeah.
Because it didn't want to flip.
Yeah, and then it flipped back over.
Again.
And so then I tried it again.
There you go.
And I'm pretty sure it's flipped back over right now.
There you go. So some of the uses since the survey, and we were going to kind of talk about like, you know, what we've been using it since then or unique circumstances. I don't know why, but this summer, I feel like I've been running it. I mean, I think maybe it's like this every year, but I ended up using the pliers for like dead animals, right?
Yeah.
Like there was a ground squirrel that got, I don't know how Tatum ran over a ground squirrel, but she did. It was sitting right at the end of the driveway. So I was just grabbed it with the little foot by the old, pliers.
Yeah.
We stopped one day.
Right outside the office.
Yep, just down the street here. There's this little stream right here by the office.
Yep.
And there was a woodchuck that just did not.
Yeah, didn't get out of the way.
Nope, he didn't make it.
Yep.
And of course, it's like it just sits there. So I'm just being, I guess, how I am. We pulled
a good
over.
Samaritan.
Yeah, put my hazards on. Just walked out there, grabbed it by the old foot, and took it off and sit it off onto the tall grass, and just went on our merry way.
Yep.
I probably should clean the end of the pliers, but I just do the old wipe it off on the
That's
pants
fine.
and just keep going.
That's fine. It's good for you.
Yeah. I have over the years done some kind of interesting things with my Leatherman. I have field dressed an elk with a Leatherman, forgot my knife, and only had my Leatherman knife. And I don't think it was this one, but one in the years past, and I only had that knife. And I was like, well, I guess here we go.
Yep.
And so, the one thing I will say that I like about the Leathermans as well is, sometimes like on the ends of them, you can see there's just a lot exposed.
Yeah.
If you're, really running with them pretty hard, or you're field dressing an elk,
Yeah.
it can get a little dirty.
Oh yeah.
So the nice thing is I just run them over a little bit of water,
Yeah.
set it on the counter, try to kind of tap it,
Yeah.
or out on, try to put it on some wood and just tap all the moisture out of it. Just kind of set it out, let it dry.
Right.
Over the years, I've even just taken a little rag with some WD-40 or a little rem oil and just kind of rubbed it on the knives, just kind of keep everything so it doesn't act like it's going to start rusting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel like I'm using enough that it kind of stays shined up.
Yeah.
The other thing we didn't talk about, another use case that you can see on mine on the ends is double as a hammer if you really get in a situation.
Yeah.
Off the end of it, you can hit it that way or you can hit it this way.
Yeah.
You can really get frisky with it that way.
Yeah.
And then the other use that I'll probably never forget that'll always stick with me is that little cut right there. You see that? So it was in the fall. This is something I am not proud of, but it happened. It was in the fall and I was in a hurry because I wanted to try to go set a stand for an afternoon hunt. It was like on a Sunday. I think it was a Sunday. And we got done with church and I was like, man, I really want to go out. And I kind of got the, the high salute from Tatum. I'm like, jackpot, here we go. Well, I was going to just go set a stand in this different spot. I needed some ratchet straps. Well, I had ratchet straps in my garage. Well, it was a like a plastic deal.
Yeah. And that's one thing with ratchet straps. You buy them, but they package them like they don't want you to use them.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. So what I would tell you to do when it comes to those ratchet straps, there's so many zip ties on them. And from experience, I would suggest if you have a Leatherman like this and it's got that little, looks like a gut hook, just put that on that zip tie and pull it and break it away from you. Don't do what I'm about to tell you because it didn't work out. What I was doing is I was using my knife and I was trying to get in there and get the zip ties off. Well, I'm holding it and I'm doing something like this and it seemed like a good idea. And I got through that zip tie and my knife went right into my wrist and it went right there. Yikes. Well, if you don't know me, I don't
not good with that stuff.
I don't like blood, especially my own blood.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother story, but I freak out.
Yep.
I lose it. I get I just have a whole thing. It's like an episode, right? I'm freaking out. So instantly the blood's just right down my hand, right? I'm right now.
Yep.
So I'm, you inherently just go like this. Mm-hmm. And your heart's racing, your mind's racing. You're like, oh my gosh. So I run inside and Tatum's looking at me and I'm like, and I show her and she's like, we need to go to the doctor. I'm like, yep. So she gets me some stuff and of course, first aid, CPR, that type of stuff's running through your brain too. So I'm like, keep pressure on it, and I'm thinking, do I need to do a tourniquet? And I'm like, I didn't think it went that far or that much. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think I just need to keep pressure on it. So I'm keeping pressure on it. So we live in Clear Lake, I go to Mesa City.
Get her all taken care of.
Yep. Get it all taken care of. They ended up having to clean it out, which was really fun. They gave me some stitches, which was really fun.
Yep.
And learn the hard way.
Yep.
So don't point the knife towards you.
And just always be careful with it.
Yeah. So I have a little scar that will forever be there, and I'll always remember that.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, and you're trying to cut a zip tie.
Just use that.
Just use that.
Yeah, it's easy.
Don't,
Safe.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Out of the way. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yep. Out of sight, out of mind.
I used the scissors to cut my sight tape.
Ooh.
Which was actually really handy.
Yeah.
It's kind of tight in there, with all the different sight tapes. So it was really easy to get in there, and it cut right through it like it was nothing.
I'll tell you what. The other thing that I was really surprised that I liked about this scissors, on the back of these Leathermans, there's this little thumb deal that you can see it releases, and that's what allows these things to, once you get them flipped out, you've got to kind of disengage it. You lift that, and then it comes disengaged. When we were first looking at this in the box, I was like, man, I don't know how that scissors works. How does that fit in there?
Yeah.
They fit it in there really nice. I mean, it's crazy. And it's got actually a nice little thumb deal here you can pull it out with.
Yep.
And then that scissors comes over.
Yep.
And the two things I would say is the scissors are sharp and they're not very wide. So if you're trying to do something super particular, most scissors are pretty wide. So you're gonna have to really eye it or make a little pre-cut.
Yeah.
Okay, do I need to move over?
Yeah.
That scissors is pretty dang tight.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's tight and it's small.
Yeah. So it's the perfect thing for cutting out a sight tape. It just, you could get right in there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a big long cut either.
Right.
You just kind of snip your way through it, and that worked really well.
maybe this is or isn't a thing, but I feel like before on some of these Leatherman pliers, they used to have like a little spring. But if you actually look, this piece right here, that's what creates the tension.
Yeah.
And it actually just kind of bends it. And that's what
exactly.
makes it so it kind of springs back.
Yeah.
It's not like it stays and then you have to like open it back up.
Yeah, exactly.
You let it go and it springs right back.
Yeah.
Pretty well engineered, I feel like.
A lot more durable than a spring probably too.
Yes. And then when you're done using it, you just flip this back over
And
then just shut it.
fold her down.
And it's literally, I mean, it's completely out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty handy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do like about yours is that it's you feel, mine's so soft.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, and maybe that's the way this will get eventually.
Yeah, probably.
But yours is a little bit rougher
yeah.
texture, and I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. And I think in the long run, I think from just a craftsmanship perspective, the fact that these have these little screws here instead of these deals,
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be, if this ever fails, that's going to be hard to replace.
Yeah, exactly.
That you've
It's just a screw.
yeah, you just get a screw and then that takes out and then the whole thing comes apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yours is definitely a little tighter than mine, even on the open,
Yeah, definitely.
when it locks open.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I tell you what, like I said, something to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, we have no skin in the game.
Nope.
This is just something that we really like. Like we did the one about the boots. I think this just a Leatherman is just something that's really, really come in handy.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them out there. Like we talked about earlier. Dude, jump on their website, go to your local Shields or go to your local retailer. I think even some archery shops have them.
Yeah.
There's tons of them out there. And I mean, if you're on a hunt, or if you're just not at your house and where you've got your garage and all your tools, it's nice just to have something.
Yeah.
Comes in pretty handy.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Cole was saying too, we don't have any skin in the game with this. It's not like a partner or a sponsor or anything like that. It's just what we use. And that's kind of what me and you have been talking about with doing these gear episodes. Just say what we use, what we like, what works for us. And it's like, just to, help some people if they have any questions about it.
Yep.
Same thing with like the trail cameras, like Cole said, the boots. It's just what we use.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So the one other thing I wanted to mention, and I think is one of the kind of the barriers to entry for some people that I've heard people say is, I don't think I want to carry that.
Yeah.
I'm already carrying my wallet. I'm already carrying my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot more people, and maybe maybe it's just me, but I used to carry my wallet in my back pocket.
Yeah.
I carry my wallet in my front left pocket now, and now I've got my AirPods in my pocket all the time. I've got my cell phone in the other pocket. Mm-hmm. So you hear people say, I don't know if I want to carry it.
Yeah.
And I even think that you kind of were going through that. I'm like, well, where am I going to carry it? How am I going to carry it?
Yeah.
You're in a little bit different situation too, right?
Yep.
Type 1 diabetic, you've got your pump.
My pump.
And so that's a huge part of your day.
Yeah.
How you carry that around.
Yeah, because it switches every 3 days on what side I wear my pump on.
Yep.
So like, it's kind of annoying because I like keeping stuff in like the same pocket and stuff like that, but you just can't do that. So, I ended up getting it's actually a Leatherman sheath. Mm-hmm. It's a leather sheath and it goes on my belt. Actually works really good. Of course, I don't have a belt on right now, so I'm not wearing it, but that works out really, really nice. Mm-hmm. Just kind of out of the way, has its own spot, and then I can keep everything that I need in my pockets without this getting in the way. Because it is kind of big and a little bit heavy, so it can get in the way in your pocket if you don't have like a really good spot for it.
Yep.
So that sheath is super, super handy. Well made too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing for me is I've never used the sheaths, like the leather sheath, or they make like a black materialed one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yep. That's like Velcro.
Yeah.
The Leatherman leather one has like got a nice snap on the front like yours does.
Yep.
It's kind of more like that traditional, like you saw your grandpa using type thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But what I do is I'm a big fan of Carhartt pants.
Yep.
I wear Carhartt pants. I wear Carhartt pants to church.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I wear is Carhartt pants. I love Carhartt pants.
Yeah.
Carhartt pants, Carhartt pants. How many times can I say Carhartt pants? Carhartt pants. Carhartt pants. Anyway. You're going to be like, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Anyway, my Carhartt pants. They have a nice pocket down the side of the leg, which I don't know what it's for, but it's for my Leatherman.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing I will say about my Carhartt pants
Yeah.
and the little pocket on the side is It eventually wears through.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like you said, these are a little heavy.
Yeah.
And when you've got this inside your pants, it kind of acts like a bell.
Yeah.
And it just kind of swings all the time. And it kind of just like, it's just always tap, 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 tap.
Yeah.
And eventually right at the bottom,
Yeah.
you'll just see a little bitty hole that starts out. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And then eventually it wears it out.
Yep.
Now I'm to the point where all my Carhartt pants,
Yeah.
the hole's too big.
Yeah.
And then it just ends up flipping out and it ends up banging into things. It's a pain.
Yeah.
So now what I do is usually in your right pocket of any pairs of pants or jeans, I honestly never really even kind of thought about or noticed it, but there is a small pocket inside your pocket.
Yeah.
Right at the top. I don't know what it's for.
But it works good.
Coins maybe, I guess, back in the day.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. But it's funny because a Leatherman will fit in there just perfect.
Yep.
And that's where I end up carrying it a lot now is I carry it in that right top pocket.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a struggle for you because if it's the 3 days that's on your right pocket,
Yeah, it just
the
doesn't
pump,
work.
it's just too much in there.
Yeah.
But I do that a lot. I'm wearing, I'm not going to stand up, but I have these little, they're not little. I'm imagining like these really short little shorts. I have regular size Kuyu shorts on, but they have a nice little deal on the section where it's like this little black piece.
Yep.
That's kind of meant for that.
Yep.
It's like a little bit tougher material.
Yeah.
So sometimes you see that, like you'll see guys that have pants on and the right side of the pocket of the right hand side of the right pocket has like a little strip of leather or bigger piece of material.
Yep.
Feel like that's made for a Leatherman.
Yep. And I've been wearing Carhartt pants a lot too, simply because of the Leatherman, because it fits so perfectly right in there.
Yeah.
I love leather. I love Carhartt pants.
You like Carhartt pants?
Yeah, I love Carhartt pants. And
Carhartt pants are good.
I even have
Which Carhartt pants do you have?
they're gray Carhartt pants.
Gray Carhartt pants.
Not double front Carhartt pants like your Carhartt pants. But
Oh man, don't even get me started on that.
I'm gonna have to get a pair of those double
Carhartt.
front.
They made it, and maybe they've had them for a while, but I just found out about them. They make double front Carhartt pants now.
Yep.
They're just like my other ones, but they're double front.
Yeah.
There's two things I always wore out: is the Leatherman pocket on the side and the knees.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the fall and you're outside and you're doing work in your yard, you're constantly just doing stuff, and the knees wear out.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Now they're double front.
Yep. So I'm gonna have to get myself a pair of double front Carhartt pants.
And they're not. Go ahead.
I have a pair of Carhartt shorts that even have a little pocket on the side.
What?
Yeah, the ones that I got the other day at Shields.
They've got a Leatherman pocket?
Yeah, and Carhartt shorts.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man, don't tell me that.
Nice pair of shorts too.
I'll tell you what, I wear shorts for just a small period of time.
Me too.
I mean, I kind of wear pants until it's like a little bit too hot.
Yeah.
It's usually only like May, June, not even May.
Yeah.
Second half of May,
June, July,
June,
August
July,
for me
and
probably.
August, and then I'm back on the pant train.
Yeah, Carhartt pant train.
I like Carhartt pants. I'm a big Carhartt pants fan. The other thing I'll say about the Carhartt pants, the double fronts, my disclaimer is I have seen double front Carhartt pants before, but they were always the like super thick ones.
Yeah, really thick.
Yeah, and I'm not working in a shop or something, right? I don't need like the really thick ones. I feel like you're wearing like cardboard pants, like they're too thick.
Yeah, you still got to be comfortable.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, the double front Carhartt pants that they got going on right now,
Yeah.
we could maybe put a picture of them. This isn't what this is about, but I think it's important to be said. Those Carhartt pants are awesome.
Yeah. So if you guys are looking for something to do this weekend, maybe rally down to your local Shields. Get yourself a Leatherman, double front Carhartt pants.
You're such a dork. Okay, this has to be addressed. So we are going to Idaho elk hunting. And I was telling Nick about one thing or another. That's another thing. I'm going to switch gears on you. That's one thing you always like about a Leatherman is, you're using a Leatherman when you're playing with it on the table and you're kind of going like this, and there's like a little pile of dirt and grime. I'm like, why are my hands all nasty? That's a good sign.
Yep.
So we're going to Idaho elk hunting. And I was talking to Nick about our friend Randy that we're hunting with, good friend of mine, one of my really good friends, probably one of my best friends. And I don't know how it got brought up, but I said something about, there's a couple things that those guys say that's like a little different than like around here. And one of them is they'll be talking about, like here's where our camp is, and then we're going to be hunting up here. So instead of saying like, we'll drive the side by side, or let's just like head up there, whatever, like, I don't want to say normal people, but Midwesterners say, you say rally. Hey man, so let's rally up to the top of that ridge. And then they'll also, when they talk about it getting kind of Western or tough road or, whatever, they don't say that. They call it gnarly. So they'll be like, oh yeah, man, like let's rally up there. We'll get through that gnarly spot, da-da-da-da. So now Nick says rally as often as possible. He kept saying he was going to say it in the podcast. That wasn't even that was technically the correct way to say it, but
it for sure was. I told him, he gets really mad when I say it, and I said there's going to be a podcast where I'm going to slip it in as many times as possible.
Well, that was only one. There was two. You said it again.
It was the perfect time to say it.
Yep.
So.
I guess you could go rally to your local retailer or rally on the internet.
Yep.
Rally on your phone to their website.
Get yourself a pair of gnarly Carhartt double front pants.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
But yeah, no, like you said, that would be the thing that I would say is, like I said, how are you going to carry it? Because a lot of people do kind of get all like, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to carry it? And I think once you start to, at first it does kind of feel a little odd and you're like, oh, I've got it on my hip or, it's kind of, on my leg or whatever. But then once you get used to it, you're just like, and you see how much you use it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we covered a lot here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, moral of the story is we've had great luck with them. I think we've talked about a lot of stuff when it comes to the Leathermans that we use, kind of the differences between yours and mine, being mine a little older, yours a little newer. There's a lot of them out there. Check it out.
Yep.
Some of the kind of the crazy situations we use them in.
Yeah.
I think we wrap it up.
Yeah, I think that's good. Nice, quick little gear review.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said.
Not even really a review, just what we use.
Yeah. Again, that's where I think it's like, I think, and the thing of it too is I don't really notice a ton of people that carry them.
I don't either.
I mean, if you're an electrician or if you're a carpenter, you'll see those guys carrying them.
Yeah.
But like, when we're at the consumer shows and we're walking around,
Nobody has them.
No, I don't think you see a lot of guys carry a Leatherman.
Yeah.
But man, I like mine.
Yep.
But the only time I don't have my pocket is if I'm in the airport. Made that mistake. I actually had to donate one that time.
Yikes.
Yeah, seriously. Because I got to the thing and it was they were like, you can't have that. And I was like, what? And I didn't even realize I had it in my pocket. And I was like,
there you
go. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, don't make sure you put it in your check bag.
Keep that in mind.
Yep. Ozonics Killerwinds podcast, another episode in the book.
Yep.
I'm Cole Tanner.
I'm Nick Simon.
Get out there.
Good luck out there.
Good luck out there. Hey, hear that? That's work right there. It's doing some work. That's how Leatherman gives you a round of applause right there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, peace.
Out. Hold on a second. Still doing it.